Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome to another stale movie review, the first of the year. Today we're going to be talking about Inferno. This one was suggested to me by one of you lovely creepy people, so thank you, Michael, for your suggestion. Let's get into this. But before we get into it, I want to say a quick thank you to my creepy patron peeps for supporting the channel. It means a whole lot to me, so thank you. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link in the description box. There'll also be a clickable link thing on the screen at the end of the video. Well, in Inferno, an American college student in Rome and his sister in New York investigate a series of killings in both locations where their resident addresses are the domain of two covens of witches. So this is the second film in Dario Argento's Three Mothers trilogy, with Suspiria being the first one. So that kind of leads me into the first thing I really liked about it is I like that the mythos behind the Three Mothers is explained and kind of like revealed and talked about in this movie. It's kind of like the main plot of the movie almost, because our main character's sister, who I talked about in the summary, Rose, she is investigating, well, not like investigating it, she's just interested in it. So she, you know, buys this book from an antique dealer about the Three Mothers, and, you know, she's suspecting that the apartment, that building that she lives in, is one of the three houses built for the Three Mothers by this alchemist. And that's like the mythos around it. And yeah, and then her brother is staying in Rome, which is supposed to be the location of the house of the youngest sister, and then the first house was in Germany, which we all know that story because that's Suspiria. Once again, Dario Argento's use of color is awesome in the movie. Again, primary colors reign supreme here. Lots of reds, lots of blues, lots of yellows, mostly in the form of gold, but you see a lot of yellows. And green kind of makes an appearance around too. So it just makes everything feel like this dark technicolor fairy tale. Makes it feel like, you know, it's like a storybook, like you're being read this like awful, horrifying bedtime story. So it just it looks awesome. You like how I was a little bit nervous because I watched Phenomena, and I remember talking about how like a lot of it just felt like super similar to Suspiria, like the plot point. So I was happy that Inferno was not that way. He even throws in, Argento even throws in a red herring where I was like, I thought maybe it wasn't gonna be about a coven of witches in this one, because there's this whole thing with the servants going on, and I feel like it's just, you know, a red herring thrown in there to throw you off, and I liked that. And there were actually some really cool effects in this movie, and the one in particular, which I'm going to talk about, this movie came out in 1980, so I'm not that worried about spoiling anything, but there's a moment where our second of the Three Mothers confronts the protagonist, and there's this really cool moment where she turns into like a personification of death itself, and what happens is it looks like she kind of like crashes through this mirror or this window, and as soon as she like hits that kind of wall, you know, it's not a wall but like the window, you know, when she kind of hits that, all of a sudden her face turns into a skull, and it's really awesome. And it looked kind of cheesy, but I don't know, for some reason, like, I really liked it. I thought it was a really cool effect. I couldn't really tell you why, but it just looked cool. It does take a while before we find out who the main character is. Like, I think we go through like two options of who it could be before we get there. And sometimes that works out well, like in Psycho, but we don't know enough about the first two potential main characters to really be invested in them. So when they're gone, when they die, we're not all that concerned. At least I wasn't all that concerned about them. I was more just kind of like waiting for the main character to show up, and then it turns out to be Mark, the brother of Rose. Like I mentioned, you guys know this already. I'm sure all of you have seen this. There were just some parts where I was kind of like spatially confused as to where we were in the movie, because Rose's apartment building is this huge old building, and there's a lot of hallways, a lot of staircases, and there are a lot of parts where, you know, a character is like running through hallways or running up and down staircases and through like this warehouse area and the basement, and it's just, I would get confused a lot when I was watching the movie as to where we were supposed to be in the building. Do you know what I mean? But I definitely didn't like this as much as Suspiria. So I feel like after seeing that, like my standards were just a little bit high. Was Inferno worth watching? So. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I'm finally getting into the Three Mothers trilogy. And I know, Michael, you said not to watch the last one, but eventually I probably am. Maybe not anytime soon, but by the end of the year, I want to get through the Three Mothers trilogy. So I probably will watch it anyway. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. On IMDb, it has a 6.7 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 64% critic score and a 59% audience score. There's no score for it on Roger Ebert. I was able to watch Inferno via Amazon Video, via my Shudder subscription. I've talked about this before. I just like the video player on Amazon a little bit more, and I can watch it on my TV, which is nice. But it's available on either. I think you can rent it on Amazon even if you don't have a Shudder subscription, or you can just watch it on Shudder if you just have a Shudder subscription, whatever you want to do. Either way, I'll leave an affiliate link to Amazon Video to Inferno in the description box if you want to watch it. So if you've seen Inferno, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. Also, let me know what you think about the Three Mothers trilogy as a whole. You can find me at all the normal social media places. The links for those will be in the description box. You can also find me on my blog at nightmaremaven.com, as well as a contributing writer at morbidlybeautiful.com, and on patreon.com/nightmaremaven if you want to support the channel. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here and become a Creepy Peep today. I post videos Monday through Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye!